what's going on? Here we are again. It's Monday. There's Tom. There's a little bitty BTK in the background.
Yeah. Fucking kind of sleepy.
He's kind of sleepy and he hurt his back.
Yeah, I hurt my back. I just reached down and picked up the fucking remote and did it wrong and fucking pop.
Isn't that dumb? Like, I do shit like that also. Like, yeah, like you sit there and like lift weights and do all this other stuff.
Yeah, hundreds
and,
of pounds, yeah.
Mowing the lawn and nothing happens, but then you do something simple like that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I've thrown my back out just like reaching in the back seat to get some shit out of it.
Yeah, it's just totally stupid.
And I'm like,
It's only happened a couple times in my life. It had anything to do with being old. I don't think it does.
No, I mean, I used to do it when I was
just
young,
moved
too.
wrong.
Yeah.
And something fucking.
I know, man. He was like all day. He was like, oh, damn.
Can't really stand all the way straight up. It's like sore.
Might have to take more painkillers later.
Yeah.
Although, did they help?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Maybe you should need to take more than that.
Okay, so this movie was a suggestion.
Yeah, this was. I had actually never heard of. I thought I had seen this, but when I started watching it, I was like, I must have been thinking of a different movie because I'm pretty sure I never saw this one. One of our patrons, thank you very much, Bee's Nest, sent us
What's up, Bees?
a flashbulb.
Yeah.
Sent us a thing.
Thank you.
One of our patrons named Amber, she sent me a message and asked if I had seen it and said that I think she said she'd read the book. Either that or she wanted to read the book, but she'd seen the movie or something like that. Because this was actually based on a novel. Oh, before we get too into it, I also wanted to say thank you to Jonathan Lasky for sending us a PayPal donation.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much. That was very nice and very generous of you. I got that yesterday, I think. So, yeah, that was pretty awesome. But, yeah, so Amber messaged me about it, and I said, yeah, I didn't never seen this movie, and she's like, oh, it's on YouTube, but it's on Amazon Prime, too. That's where we watched it. And I was like, how in the world is there this movie with both Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in it, and I have somehow not seen it? Okay, so this was a weird... this is a weird movie. This came out in 1973. Like I said, it was based on a novel that came out in 1968 by John Blackburn. And the guy that directed this, he did some good shit. Peter Sasdy, he did a bunch of Hammer movies. He did Taste the Blood of Dracula. He did Countess Dracula. He did Hands of the Ripper. He did The Stone Tape, like that Nigel Neal thing, which I think I might have reviewed on my other channel. This movie, it's just weird. It's a weird combo. And interestingly, this was the only movie distributed by Christopher Lee, started a movie production company called Charlemagne. And this was, I believe, the only movie that they distributed, that they put out. Because it was him and another guy, and they were going to do a movie production company, but I guess it didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
This is the only one that they did.
Probably lost money.
Yeah, I don't think this movie did all that well.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why. It's a strange...
It's a weird mixture of shit.
It's a weird mixture of shit. It's like, for the first opening scene is great, because you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'll talk about that in a minute. But then, the middle bit, it almost goes into... Because it's listed as a horror movie, right? And for a while, it doesn't seem like a horror movie. It seems more like a detective movie, like a murder mystery type thing. But then, very, very slowly, possible paranormal things start getting introduced, and then the end just goes balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Paranormal.
Yeah, I saw it as kind of like cross between Audrey Rose and Wicker Man. Kind of like that.
And a detective movie.
And a detective movie. Yeah, it
was
a
straight up detective
a weird hodgepodge of shit that kind of... I think the story bogged down because it was trying to be too much of something. It would have been better if it just tried to be one thing. It is an interesting movie to watch if you're into horror movies. If you're into Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, yeah.
And I mean, who isn't?
It's
fucking rule.
Got some paranormal shit. It's starring this little girl who's, I think she's kind of supposed to be like an Audrey Rose type character, or like the girl from The Exorcist. She's like that. She's real cute, kind of charismatic chick, probably about, I don't know, maybe about 10, 11. And it's about her. And her mom was a hooker, and she ended up in foster care, and scientists get involved. It gets pretty damn convoluted. And then in the end, they're kind of like soul-stealing
it's like soul
transferring vampires trying to live
They didn't really
forever.
go too much into like the logistics behind it. I mean,
it kind of happened before I kind of understood what was going on. They were stealing young bodies so they could
live forever. I guess like after once they got to a certain, which I think they've done that in a couple other movies too. It's not a crazy idea. Like I've seen that done before. Didn't they do that in that movie Skeleton Key? Now that I'm thinking about it, but like a soul transference type.
For
thing.
a while, I thought it was in reincarnation because she's having these visions.
Yeah. Well, see, okay. So at first, like I wasn't sure. I didn't like read the synopsis other than like just the brief one that's on Amazon, which doesn't really tell you anything. Like I said, it definitely says it's a horror movie, but for the first part of it, it's kind of more like a thriller, like a conspiracy thriller, kind of, or like a murder mystery. And then I'm like, well, wait, like is there paranormal shit going on? Like, but as time went on, with the little girl and stuff, I'm like, I think this is going to be like an Audrey Rose kind of moment, like she's going to be reincarnated, because that's kind of seemed like where they were going with that. But it ended up being not quite that. It's kind of similar. But the opening scene is great because, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense at first, but then, like, later on when you find out what the fuck is going on, like, at the end, you're like, oh, now you see why it was like that. The first 3 scenes are, like, quick succession, and it's 3 older people being murdered, but in a way that makes it look like suicides or accidents, right? Yeah. Like, there's this old lady, and she's sitting in a car, like, on a hilltop or something, and she looks like she's just sitting there. She's not dead. She just sits, like, she looks like she's in a trance or something, unless she, like, doesn't fight anybody, and somebody else reaches in and, like, pulls the, brake or whatever, and, like, the car goes tumbling off the cliff. And then there's a guy standing on this high balcony, and somebody comes and pushes him off. And then there's a woman just sitting by her fireplace, and somebody legit, like, comes up and just points a gun right at her fucking face, and she just sits there like, huh.
Yeah.
And then they shoot her. And then you're like, okay, what the fuck was that about? And, like, why didn't they say anything? Or, like, why didn't they, oh, shit, someone's killing me. They just, like, sat there and, like, let it happen. And so then we go to Peter Cushing plays, like, a pathologist.
Yeah, before you get into that, those murders happened. And the tone of them and the way it's edited to the rest of the movie, you kind of forget that they happened.
Yeah.
It's like you just talking about this, I just remembered that those murders happened.
Yeah.
It's kind of forgot about them. It's just the way the movie's got a weird timing to it. It's not a modern edit.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And it's not long. It's only like, I think it's not, it's like 90 minutes maybe, or maybe 87 minutes or something like that. But like I said, the edit of it is a little strange. But, I don't know. I didn't really mind that, because I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
I think it's trying to be a little avant-garde for its time.
It might have been.
It's hard to tell.
It might have been. And like I said, I haven't read the book, so I don't know how similar the structure is to how the book is.
Yeah.
And also, we were talking about this beforehand. I'm like, I'm not entirely sure why it's called Nothing But the Night.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything in the movie that would, like, merit that title. Like I said, maybe the book has something in it. Maybe it makes more sense, like, in the context of the book. I'm not really sure. But so, after that, so Peter Cushing is a pathologist. And then Christopher Lee, he's some kind of colonel or something. And he comes there wanting to consult with him because he's talking about these 3 quote-unquote suicides or quote-unquote accidents that have just happened. And he's like, I don't think that these are accidents because these 3 people were all trustees of this thing called the Van Tralen Fund. So they were all kind of really important, like, very prominent people. And he's like, and it's super, super fishy that they all suddenly committed suicide, like, in this really brief time in, like, really sus ways. And he's like, and I think they were murdered, so he thinks some kind of conspiracy is going on. So I guess he's, him and Peter Cushing's character are friends, just like they were in real life. And so he wants him to help prove that these were not suicides. And then, in a little way that's kind of not, you're not sure how it's entirely related, there's this little girl, because, like, after those 3 murders happen, then there's another one where there's, like, all these kids on a bus, and the one girl that's at the front who ends up being, like, kind of a main character, her name's Mary, and the driver, like, is lighting a cigarette or something like that, and she turns around and screams, and he, like, crashes the bus and all this other shit. And I think it was supposed to kill everybody on the bus, but it ended up only killing the driver. So the girl ends up in this hospital with this doctor looking over her. And it's this, I think it's the same hospital, the same facility where Peter Cushing works at. So the doctor, they're like, well, she's not hurt, she's fine. But the doctor is getting kind of worried because he's like, she seems to be having all these weird like visions or nightmares or something like that of fire and like talking about somebody else's name like she's somebody else.
She's getting delusional.
This is kind of where the Audrey Rose thing, because if you haven't seen Audrey Rose or read the book, because that was based on a book too by Frank Cifaletta, I think. She was reincarnated as like this little girl that died in a car crash and she like burned up in the car. And so she kept having visions like that and they couldn't figure it out. So I thought that that was the direction it was going, and it's not quite that. It's similar, but it's not quite that. Yeah, and I was
unclear because the doctor was saying nobody in the bus burned. So did she just think she saw the bus driver burn, or did he actually burn?
No, he just had a little bit of a burn on the side of his face, but he was the only one that died in the wreck. Like, the bus didn't burn up or nothing.
Right.
The burning she was seeing was the old lady that had taken over her body.
Okay.
Shit that had happened to her, like, a long time ago.
Yeah, because they were like, what is she talking about? There wasn't a big fire.
Yeah.
But I could have swore they showed that guy burn it up, or they maybe think...
No, what happened was he did a lighter. Yeah. He was going to light the cigarette, and then it kind of went big like that, but it didn't burn him up or nothing like that.
All right.
It just like made him. She turned around and screamed, and that made him crash the bus.
Okay.
So
All right. I thought he did burn up.
No.
All right.
That was a little unclear.
Yeah, it was unclear.
But like they did kind of.
I thought he caught on fire.
They did talk about that like a little bit later on. So, it turns out, is a ward of this orphanage on Bala Island in Scotland, which the orphanage is run by the Van Tralen Fund, who, you know, the three people that died earlier were trustees of, like, on the board or whatever. So that's where the linkage is. Now, they want her to come home, like, back to the orphanage, but the doctor is like, man, I don't know. He's like, I know she's not physically hurt, but I feel like there's something wrong with her. Like, all these nightmares, like, maybe she has some psychological problems or something, and it's like, I want to keep her for observation, and they don't want her to. And then, meanwhile, there's this other... She works for a newspaper, right? The newspaper lady. And then she tracks down Mary's real mother, who's played by Diana Dors, who was a big, like, kind of a sex bomb Marilyn Monroe type back in the 50s. She was kind of like Britain's answer to Marilyn Monroe.
She's not in this movie, though.
Yeah, she's a little rough looking here. This was kind of fun.
She's a little heavy.
On her desk. She kind of looks like Shelley Winters, actually.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Shelley Winters a lot in this. And so she's trying to make a stink. Like, she calls up the press, and she's like, you know, I want my kid back. They just, like, took her to this orphanage, and they won't let me see her, and all this other kind of shit. But then it turns out that she's not only a hooker, but she also murdered somebody 10 years ago and just got out of prison. I don't think they go into the details of who she killed or what the situation was.
That's an awful light sentence.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like it might have been... well, I was kind of thinking, like they said, they didn't go into it. Yeah. I wasn't thinking it was, like, first-degree murder. I was thinking it was, like, manslaughter or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they just said, oh, she killed somebody. I don't even know if it was a man or a woman. But so they took her kid away, but now she's, like, flipping out about it, and she's like, well, I want my kid back. And so the doctor gets this idea, like, he meets up with the press lady, and they're just like, oh, well, maybe it'd be a good idea to have the mom, I think her name's Anna, come and see the daughter, and it's like, maybe that'll trigger something, and we'll figure out, like, what it is that she's having these visions about. Well, as it turns out, she comes to the hospital against pretty much everyone else's wishes, and the kid is like, does not want, she's like, get this bitch away from me back. She's like flipping the fuck out. And they end up like having to kick the lady out of the hospital. And then eventually, they do send the little girl back to the orphanage, and she's super happy about going. But it turns out the mom is going to follow her there and get her back. Like, essentially, she's going to kidnap her, I guess. And then along the way, like, she does some kind of suspicious stuff where, you know, spoiler alert for a very, very old movie, but they try to set her up like a red herring because she murdered somebody before. All these people turn up dead, and they're trying to, like, make it seem like it was her. You know what I mean? Like, this, there's this boat, like a ferry, and some of the other trustees are on it, and it blows up, and there's two guys before, and they're like, oh, somebody stole all these explosives like from this shed or something like that, and that was when the mom was on the island. So they're trying to make it seem like the mom is going around killing all these people, like trying to get to her daughter at the orphanage because they wouldn't give her daughter back. So all of that's going on. And like I said, you're not entirely clear. Like, I thought it was reincarnation because of all the shit she's saying. She's talking to somebody named Vincent and saying she's burning up and all this other kind of stuff, and he was burning up, and she hadn't lived through anything like that, so they couldn't figure out what she was talking about. And so the press lady finds a tape that the doctor had done, like under hypnosis or something, and it's kind of freaking her out. And then it turns out that what the little girl is talking about is something that happened to the main trustee lady, who supposedly died like a long time ago. And so you find out in like the last 10 minutes of the movie, maybe not even the last 10 minutes, maybe it's like, yeah, it's probably like 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the movie, that what all of these kids at the orphanage, or what all the trustees were doing, and why they all allowed themselves to be murdered or accidented or suicided to death at the beginning, was that they understood that their soul or personality or whatever was going to be transferred into one of the orphans, like at the orphanage. Like I said, they don't say like how this is done. I'm assuming it's like some kind of black magic, because one of the little kids at the orphanage is killed, and he has like, ritualistic kind of shit like carved into his head.
I just thought it was witchcraft.
So I just thought it was like witchcraft.
Yeah.
But so like I said, that's the only explanation you need. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
It ends like a Wicker Man type situation.
Yeah, definitely like that.
It could only have been black magic.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, I thought that's what the implication was.
Yeah.
So as it turned out, even though they were setting up Anna, the mom, Diana Dore's character, as being the killer, like who was killing all these people, because Mary's doctor turned up dead too. Like he had him stabbed in the head with one of Anna's hat pins, so everybody blamed her. But it turned out that it was the little girl all along. Except she wasn't a little girl. She was an old lady that had used to run the trustee, like the head of the trustees. And she had transferred her personality into this little girl.
Yeah. And
so she was going around killing people so that they could go into the younger bodies. Although...
I guess that's why they didn't resist the deaths.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that was what the implication was.
Right.
That's why I think they mentioned that. Right. Like that's why they let it happen, because they were like they knew that
woman just watched herself get shot.
Yeah, she was just like, huh.
Like she was happy about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and see that explains too, like the whole bus crash.
Right.
All of the kids were on the bus.
Yeah.
They were all supposed to die at once, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ideas in this. It's just that they're not really the edit and the acting and the way the script is written. It kind of bogs down in other things. It could have been told in kind of like a snappier, more compelling. I would say more of an American style, but this is not an American style movie. It's a British movie.
Yeah,
and it's old. That was the way they were going to do it back then, And I really think they were emulating The Exorcist, Emily Rose. And
Algie Rose, yeah.
With Algie Rose and The Wicker Man, and maybe like a Giallo movie where there's like a police procedural going on with it, kind of Italian.
Yeah.
Remember how a lot of Italian slasher movies there's also a police movie, kind of a deal at the same time. The cops are involved, something like that. With sciencey style science.
Yeah, I did actually. One of my low-key favorite things in this movie, and they don't even like dwell on it or anything. It's not super gory. Like I said, a little kid gets killed and he has like a pentagram or something like carved in his forehead or something, which, I mean, that was pretty severe for 1973, I guess. But and Diana Dors gets tied to a thing and burned alive. Yeah. Like she's dressed up like Guy Fawkes, and they like throw her in the fire. Like I said, very Wicker Man. But I love that Peter Cushing, he plays a pathologist. And he's on this island in Scotland, investigating and helping out with the orphanage thing. And the boat that has like these like 3 trustees on it blows up, and it blows up. I mean, there's like And they even make a couple, not jokes, but they even make a couple comments about, there's hardly anything left of these motherfuckers. And so then, like, it's not super gross or anything like that, but then they set up this lab, and he's in there, and there's legit, like, pieces. Like, there's, like, a kind of arm over there, and, like, Peter Cushing is just, like, putting pieces of, like, in the thermos, like, to go in the fucking freezer and stuff like that. I just thought that was so, so funny. And I'm just, like... I don't know why that was so amusing to me, that it's like there's just little pieces of people like all over the fucking table. And that's like all that was left of like the people after the explosion. And that just kind of cracked me up. It cracked me up because they didn't dwell on it. But I thought that was kind of cool because you wouldn't. I mean, you're a pathologist. The people exploded. It's like, yeah, you know how that looks. You know how that works. So it's not like you're going to go, shit, you know what I mean? You've seen it all, I'm sure. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, it's... And another thing that's kind of weird, I don't know. I think the only thing, I really like the idea behind this movie because it's weird, but I don't mind that. Like, I like weird movies. I kind of feel like I wish they had balanced it slightly more. Like, I like the whole opening with all the quote-unquote suicides and accidents. And then I like the police procedural bit, like where you weren't sure, like, what direction this was going to go. Like, it just seems like a straight-ahead murder mystery. And then all of a sudden... Like, it starts kind of going into more, like, paranormal or kind of reincarnation-y kind of stuff, like, with visions and whatnot. I kind of wish, though, that they had just done that, like, for half of the movie and then gone more paranormal, like, instead of... Because it seemed like it was just, like, mostly detective story and then bam!
And then,
paranormal. Yeah. Like, balls to the wall paranormal.
That's a good way to put it. The balance is wrong. There's too much build-up and not really enough payoff. The end scene was pretty cool, but that should have been more like in the second 2/3 of the movie.
And I kind of wish,
and then it should have kept going.
Yeah,
should have more like an action movie.
I'm glad that they didn't explain how the old trustee people were going into the bodies of the orphans, because like I said, witchcraft, black magic, that's all the explanation you need. It doesn't have to be like all bogged down with it. But one thing I do wish they had talked about a little bit more, I wish they would have at least kind of, I don't know, just highlighted a couple more of the kids.
Yeah.
Because the kids are just kind of all faceless except for her. And, I don't even know what hardly any of their names are or anything like that. You don't have any scenes with them. And so you could see, like, maybe one of them would say some weird shit that, like, an old person would say or something. It'd be like, that'd be weird. Like I said, just little shit like that. And also, the very, very end, after they try to burn Christopher Lee alive, like, they tie him up with ropes and they're dragging him toward the big... Because they made, like, a bonfire, like Guy Fawkes night. And they're dragging him toward it. But he gets saved. They burn her mother alive, though, like the kids do. And they're all dressed like adults. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're doing that. And then she, like, I guess doesn't, like, a helicopter come and it blows some of the fire and it blows it onto Mary, the little girl.
Yeah, I guess it was, helicopter.
And it sets her on fire. And so she starts burning alive. So a kid gets burned alive, too. So, yeah. That's nice.
She runs and throws herself
off. And she runs and throws herself off a cliff.
Yeah.
After which... all the other kids do it too.
Yeah, that's not really well explained.
And I kind of wish they had fleshed that out more. Yeah, because is this like a cult? Like, is she like the head witch or what?
Or were they a part of her, and because she died, they couldn't exist anymore? I don't fucking know. It wasn't well.
Yeah, I thought they were all different people because
you see, the thing is they got a bonus life.
Yeah.
They could have lived that whole life until they were old again, and they still would have been one life up.
Yeah.
There's no reason to fucking kill yourself just because your cult leader dies.
Yeah.
Because you're like 10. You started over. You got what you wanted.
Yeah.
You got twice as much as everybody else got. You got 2 lives.
I mean...
So what was the problem?
I guess... Okay. The only thing I can think of that makes sense to me is that they realized after she did that, it's like, oh, now everybody knows. Right? So it's like, I don't know how they would fix it. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going to kill him or anything like that.
The thinking's too British. The American fucking... If Americans had possessed a new body and young, they just would have scattered and ran. catch me if you can, and then
that's
what would happen.
You'd think. But yeah, it's like it was kind of cool. I liked the ending, like where all the kids were just like fuck it, and they just like just plunged them
the
off
kids
the cliff.
surrendered to authority.
And I was
you
just
caught
like,
us. We're down bad.
I was like,
alive.
wow, dang. I was like, that was quite an ending.
Kind of British thinking there.
And and I didn't mind that ending. I liked that ending. I just wish it had been explained a little bit more that maybe she was the one doing it, and they, like you said, they couldn't live without her. Maybe
I think they just wanted an impressive ending.
Yeah,
that's all. I think it was really just that simple. Although the book would probably read that way too.
Now I'm kind of curious.
I just wouldn't have done it this way. I wouldn't have waited so long to tell you what the reveal was, that these kids are actually adults. Their spirits had possessed these young bodies. I would have let you find that out 20 minutes into the movie.
Maybe not that soon, but
I don't know.
Sooner.
Think of all the fucking movie you could tell with these little kids doing adult stuff and killing people and trying to and then dialogue in between the two. There's a lot of excitement that you could do. And the authorities are trying to catch them and kill them one by one type of deal. They can only get them one at a time.
Or maybe it takes a while before
people don't believe
it.
Yeah,
before people believe it, and they're just like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know what I mean? Which it kind of does that, but it's like not.
Then there's a big showdown, and a bunch of people get killed. A lot of the good guys get killed. Maybe they turn on one another. No, stop killing the kids. No, those aren't kids. That type of deal. There's all kinds of games. You could play
that would have been cool actually. Because like they're not kids. They're like they're witches or whatever the fuck they were.
It's just a little low key. The movie's slow and low key. But then, like, there's a payoff at the end. You're like, man, it should have been this way through most of the movie.
That's what pretty much every review that I read of this was like, man, the opening scene is great and the end is great.
Yeah, it should have been.
But it's like everything in between was kind of
padding.
Yeah, kind of mediocre a little bit.
Yeah.
Sadly. But, you know, everybody in it's good. It's just, I mean, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, I'll watch anything they're in. Shit. I'll just watch them sitting there staring at each other. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool idea.
You could do something with it.
You could definitely do something with this. Yeah. This is actually something that, if I wouldn't mind reading the book. I'll look and see, if it's available. Like if I can read it on Kindle Unlimited or something. But this could be like remade. This is a cool idea.
You'd have to redo that script though.
Well, yeah.
There have been. Is it a unique idea? What they're coming up with here. Another a better example of a unique horror idea would be like Dead and Buried.
Yeah.
There's no that's like its own little story. It's kind of like about zombies, but not really.
Not really.
And shit happens, you don't know what the hell's going on, and then it reveals what's happening pretty soon in it. And I don't remember all the details of Dead and Buried. I just remember loving it. And it was like that. It's in the horror genre, it was kind of an individual creation.
Yeah.
It was guys bringing a dude that could bring the dead back to life. They were like a zombie, but not really. I don't remember all the details. They weren't like a Haitian zombie, and they weren't like a
Romero
zombie.
Romero
zombie. They weren't like that. And then it turns out it was like science was involved. It was like a doctor that was making them.
It's almost
wasn't it a doctor.
Yeah, kind of.
Or it was a doctor working at a funeral home or some crazy shit like that.
So it was almost like science-y, but also like phantasm-y at the same
like
time.
Kind of phantasm.
Sort of.
Phantasm's another good example of a totally original, unique story that they made their whole universe. You know, every one of those Phantasm movies is good. They're all entertaining.
You know what's funny is that when over on my Scare Salon channel, when I've been doing my 5 favorite horror movies from every year since I was born, and the year that I did Phantasm, which the first one that came out in 1979, and that was one of my top 5 that year, and I'm sitting there writing the plot synopsis or whatever, and then I had to write after that, I said, when you write it out like that, it sounds dumb as hell. Yeah. But when you see it in the movie, it's really not dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Like, it really works.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Like, when you describe that movie to somebody.
Yeah, and and everyone, that particular property has its own rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because Reggie explains to you what the rules was. I think this dude is appearing in, the from another dimension. These fucking dead people from another dimension are stealing your souls and making you slaves in another dimension.
And shrinking you down.
And shrinking you down. Just weird shit like that. Just
but
totally
that was
made
because
up.
of the atmosphere, though.
Yeah, totally made up.
Why.
But it was an individual, unique tale, and they kept working with that until it had its own lore. You know. All 5 movies.
This might seem I don't. This just occurred to me, but this whole thing with Nothing But the Night, where it's like a detective story, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's like supernatural. It kind of reminded me. Do you guys remember just a couple weeks or a couple months ago, I reviewed that movie, The Empty Man, which came out in like 2018, 29 something, whenever it was. It's fairly recent, and that kind of, it's not the same as this. But it's kind of the same in the sense that you think it's the different kind of movie than it is. And then it goes like kind of fucking weird cosmic horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's hard to do. That movie I think was largely successful doing it. I think some people didn't like it because they're like, what the fuck is this now? Like, I thought it was a different kind of movie. But if it's done well, I really, really like that. Because it's, like I said, it's hard to, like, cross genres like that because you risk alienating a large part of your audience that it's like, hey, I thought it was this kind of movie, and then bam, it's this other kind of movie, and I'm not down with that.
Yeah, and this was a low-budget movie, even though it was well made. But a low budget does not really excuse, like, lack of action and excitement. There's a shit ton of fucking action-packed movies that didn't cost anything to film.
True.
It just seems like a lot of the story was dialogue that was just used to pad it out and to show off Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing's acting.
Yeah.
Which they are good, but it's kind of not what you're seeing a movie for, especially back in these days.
I will say, too, that I thought that there was too much of Diana Dors running around on the island, like, hiding.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, she's on the island and she's hiding because everybody's looking for her. We get it. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to go on for, like, 15 minutes. You know? Her, like, climbing, she's getting all dirty.
And yeah, she didn't even have a topless scene.
She did not.
And she was over the hill. She, you know what I mean? That means he automatically going to have a topless scene. Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She was
known for that kind of shit before.
Like I said, she was quite the hidey back in the 50s.
So, you know, and she wasn't that old. She was maybe late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, she, I don't know much about her. Like, I've seen a couple of movies that she's in. And matter of fact, she was in a movie called Berserk.
Yeah.
With Joan Crawford.
Okay, yeah.
Like, just a couple, I think it was 1971, so it was only a couple years before this. But, or something like that. Maybe it was late 60s. I can't really remember. But she was a little bit over the hill then, too.
Yeah.
She doesn't look old. She looks...
She's
like...
She's neglected.
She looks like maybe she was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
She looks a little bloated.
Yeah.
Like, her face looks kind of
bloated.
She's
chubby. But all the more reason to pop them out. Because, you know, you're gonna have to make up for it somehow. Because the show, you know, she was doing shit like that when she was hot. So just, you know... she's not ugly. She's just kind of, she's just out of shape. Which, you know, pull them out.
And she plays like, I kind of like her character, like she plays a fucking super obnoxious character.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I thought they were kind of
she's playing a hooker.
Up to that, yeah.
We're going to see her nude. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But here's a weird thing, too. I thought they were setting it up that she was psychic. Because when she had like a bunch of like tarot cards and shit in her house, and did she have like stickers of tarot cards in the back of her car and a black cat? So I think there was a line in there somewhere.
She was a witch, maybe,
about her, like maybe her passing it on to her daughter or something like that. Which so I don't really know. That wasn't like super clear either. That was a little bit muddled.
I kind of thought that she was a witch.
I did too.
And maybe she had taught the girl witchcraft. Remember, she was beating the little girl up because she realized it wasn't her.
Yeah.
That was another thing.
Yeah.
And the cops saw her doing it, and then she tried to back out. So I think maybe she taught her how to do it.
Maybe so, or the fact that she had been raised by a witch, like made the little girl more susceptible, perhaps. I don't know.
There's all kinds of things they could have done with this script that they didn't, and I don't know. Maybe because it wasn't in the book. Maybe they're trying to adhere to the book. Or maybe they didn't adhere to the book, so some of the story is lost. They needed more pizzazz.
Yeah.
Things had to be just spelled out for us
Like I said,
Americans.
I think the well, I don't even think it was that because I'm not a dumbass and like I pay attention to shit.
It's hard to figure out what was going on.
And it's just I knew what was going on, but I thought some things were introduced or implied, and then it didn't really come to anything.
Well, to me that means I don't really understand what's going on. Like, was she?
But that's
a witch,
not. But that's not your fault.
Or...
That's not your fault.
The story wasn't fleshed out.
Yeah,
It's
like I said,
like,
I thought that was gonna play more into it that her mom was maybe
it did,
a witch.
but it may have been cut, and it could have been.
Yeah, maybe so.
So the edit we have is a ponderous edit, or the wrong edit. You know, evidently the movie didn't do well at the box office, and that was the end of this. Studio.
And then it kind of went into obscurity for a long time.
Right. And
like I think you can only get it on VHS for a while. I don't think it came out on DVD. I think it recently came out on Blu-ray, but
it's the story.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not. There's nothing wrong with the story per se. It's just that I think it. Yeah, I just think they needed to balance it out a little bit more. Some of the stuff that was hinted at or implied, they needed to flesh that out more a little bit. Like the whole, was the mom a witch?
Yeah, well, if you're not gonna have action, you have to have explanation.
You know, was the little girl?
Yeah.
You know, the woman that took over the little girl, like, was she some kind of cult leader? Like, the other kids couldn't survive without her? Is that why they killed themselves at the end? Like, so there was other stuff that they could have... Like I said, they don't have to over-explain everything. We're not idiots. It's just that it seems like some stuff was introduced and they didn't really go all the way with it.
It probably was in there at one time and was cut out.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
We might be missing a few scenes.
That's true. And like I said, it's not a long movie by any stretch. I think it's 87 minutes. That's the version that I watched. That's on Amazon.
Probably wasn't shown before a test audience either.
I don't know if they did that as much back then.
I didn't do it back then, yeah.
I mean, I think they did off and on, but maybe nothing like this.
They should have just tested it on fucking random, unwary fucking civilians. And they were like, what the fuck was that about? And then well, we're going to fix the story. You know.
Yeah, Tom Baker points out From Dusk Till Dawn also became a different movie around the 50-minute mark. Yeah, and that's an example of doing it right. Like, that worked. It doesn't always, but it can be done. It's just difficult. Yeah, Mango says the Phantasm films are great.
Yeah.
Part of the series is my favorite, but I think he said part 3 or part 2, I don't know. Of the series is my favorite. However, Ravager is awesome. They're all awesome.
Yeah,
I like all of them.
There isn't a bad movie.
Yeah, I like all of them.
Out of all 5 movies, they're all good.
I wouldn't mind like just watching all of them.
Wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Like one night.
Yeah.
If I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah. 5 was excellent.
Yeah.
And usually by that time it hits film 5, it sucks. But the Phantasm series was fucking handcrafted with love by people who fucking loved the story. It was like the same original people in it, and they were just, you know, they liked that story, and it had written its own mythos, and they knew who their fan base was, and so, you know, it was just that's a great way to do it. Every 5 of the movies is strong, even though like most of them are low budget. You don't need a big budget. You just need good writing and good acting and good spirit behind it. You got to believe in your work.
Mango says Diana Dors was a very unpleasant person, along with her husband Alan Lake.
Yeah.
She seems like she plays a very unpleasant person in this movie, so maybe that's like maybe not that far out from how she really was. John Gora says, I like that William Castle movie with Joan Crawford's Straight Jacket from 1964. Yeah, she plays an axe murderer in that. And honestly, I've only seen clips of it. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing straight through. And I might have seen it when I was a kid, but I don't really remember. I meant to watch it before we did the show about Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, but I didn't have time. But I will get around to it one of these days. And, John Gores also points out, that's another movie. Audition did a good switcheroo genre-wise, a third in. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That's another one that kind of starts out as, I don't even want to call it a romantic comedy, but then like it goes really fucked up more toward than really fucked up. That's a great fucking movie. Audition is so fucking good. We should probably review that. I don't know if you'd like it or not. I can never tell if Tom's gonna like something or not.
What's it called?
Audition. It's Japanese. It's Japanese. It's messed
that's the one about the woman,
up.
right?
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
It's messed up.
Kind of woman serial killer.
It starts out not like a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard it's good.
Like it starts out kind of like almost like a romantic comedy sorta.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes in like a horrific direction. Yeah, Manga said I meant to say part 2 is my favorite. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think part 2 was the first one. Was it? I was going to say, I thought it was the first one I saw. And then I went back and watched the first one. Yeah. Well, I know that I saw part 2 in the theater. I distinctly remember saying part 2 in the theater.
Part 1 was good, too, though.
Yeah.
They were all good. Part 2 was done by a big U.S. studio. They did a pretty good job of keeping it close to the original concept. They didn't add any bullshit.
Keeping it weird.
They kept it weird. They didn't change the tone or anything. Better budget. But the other ones are good too.
Yeah, they're all good.
They're all good. There's not a bad Phantasm movie.
Yeah, one of the few. Like I said, one of the few franchises in horror. Reanimator probably being the other one.
Psycho.
Every one of them was good. All of those are good.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think it. But
yeah. But
they're all absolutely worth watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, if you like, this wasn't a Hammer film, but it kind of has that vibe. And like I said, the director did a couple Hammer films too, as well as doing the Stone Tape. I know I either did a video about it, or I know I reviewed it, like on my blog maybe, but I don't remember if I did a video or not. I might have just written a review about it, because I really like the Stone Tape. But yeah, I don't know. I just really, really like the idea. I just feel like the execution was a little off. That's all. And it wasn't because of the genre mashup. You can do that. It's just...
It's a script.
It was, like I said, I think it was a little unbalanced. I think it needed a more smooth transition.
It's a script and the edit.
Is what it needed, I think. Because it's like, it was a really cool idea. But like I said, man, I'll watch anything with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in it. I'll just watch them all day long. Even if it... You know what, though? I've never seen anything with them... Okay, I take that back. I've never seen anything with Peter Cushing in it that sucked. However, Christopher Lee was in Castle of Fu Manchu. And that was a fucking terrible movie. Yeah. Now, I just saw It wasn't his fault. I don't know whose fault it was, but it wasn't his fault. I saw it on MST, which... It might be edited, because MST did usually edit them for time. But it made absolutely no sense. And not in a way that... Because, sometimes you can see a movie and it makes no sense, and you're like, roll with it anyway, and you're just like, oh, well, it's what the fuck. It's hilarious.
Like an Italian movie.
This one, yeah, it's like... And it's fine. You just kind of go along with it. But this one, it was just... frustrating. It just like annoyed you because you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and you couldn't get interested in anything because you had no idea what anyone was doing or like who anyone was or nothing. It was just, it was just seemed like all of these fucking, I haven't seen it in a while, but it
makes you want to see it now.
It seemed like all of these completely like unrelated. I was just like, what is, and I'm good at following movies, I'm a writer. So I'm just like sitting there going, what the fuck is happening? I have no idea who these people are or what is going on, like at all.
That's kind of like one of the worst horror movies of all times. If you ask me, it was Blackenstein.
That was so bad.
Blackenstein was terrible.
And there was so much, because look how good Blackula was.
Blackula was great. That's
Look how good,
the two Blackulas are really good.
Yeah, Blackula was good. Look how good, like, Ganja and Hess was. Yeah, look at, you can make, like, but they tried to do Blackenstein, because of course they did. Yeah. And we were expecting it, because we're like, well, we got to see this. I mean, it's like, probably it's not going to be as good, because Blackula, everybody talks about how good Blackula is.
Yeah.
But Blackenstein was like...
Yeah, I was expecting it to be as good. With William Marshall and all that. No, horrible.
It's terrible.
Horrible.
Unfortunately. It would have been so good. There's so much you could do with that. They need to
take that fucking name away from that movie and then just make sure that it never happens again. And then have Eddie Murphy come out and do Blackenstein. Imagine if he did Blackenstein. It'd be a lot better.
That would be hysterical.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of remember...
He plays Dr. Blackenstein.
It's been a while since we've watched Blackenstein. But,
there was nothing to it. You didn't know what the hell was going on.
And it looked like it cost about $10 to make. It was super cheap looking, from what I can remember. And it was just... I don't know, it was just bad. It was just, like, really low quality.
Black dude in a lab coat with a bunch of black chicks in office uniforms pretending to type. And pretending to work in the office and pretending to be nurses. And you don't know what the fuck is going on in this movie. And then a black dude comes out, running around, and they didn't even make that cool. It was totally incoherent. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Because it's dumb, because it's like, how can you make Frankenstein incoherent? Everybody knows that fucking story.
It wasn't even close to that.
It's not difficult. You know what I mean?
It was just a rip-off. They were just trying to get black people to come in to see the movie.
I heard, I don't know if they ever made, because, you know, they were trying to do, like, a blaxploitation version of, like, pretty much all the Universal monster movies. But, you know, Blackula obviously was, like, kind of the gold standard. Yeah. They tried to do Blackenstein. I heard they were also going to do Black the Ripper. But, I don't think they ever
That'd be cool.
I don't think they ever made it.
Well, you make that on the Atlanta Ripper. That was my idea.
That's what, I was thinking that.
I made it.
Yeah, because that was a real serial killer.
That was a real serial killer, and he was like a black guy, and he would do Jack the Ripper shit. He had the hat, and the fucking cape and shit, would jump over fences. And
it was like in the 20s?
Yeah.
Or late aughts. Or 1920s.
And he was a young guy, young black guy, and he would target, he liked light-skinned, kind of mixed chicks that lived in the hood where he lived, evidently. Or I guess he lived there. But then they get startled sometimes. She was, okay, I'd never heard a pretty girl like you. And then she turned around and walked. He'd stab her right in the back.
Right in the back,
Pow. Yeah, he killed most of them. But some of them got away. Some of them lived.
Yeah, that was one of our early shows. Because I feel like a lot of people don't even remember the Atlanta Ripper.
1920s. They never caught him.
Nope. Still know who he was, just like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, and he could jump over a tall fucking brick wall in a single fucking bound with Kate behind him. That's just right out of the movies, man. That would have been a great movie.
Just like Spring Heel Jack.
Yeah.
We were even thinking about doing, because for a while we were thinking maybe we should do like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
About it. But
he was definitely trying to recreate the Ripper murders, like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
He even had the outfit and everything, but he's a black guy. And I said, man, he's Black the Ripper.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great movie. It's just, man, we ought to fucking write a book or something like that, Jen. Write that book.
They were gonna make a Black the Ripper back in the 70s.
That would have been,
but I don't think it was gonna be about.
They would have fucked it up. They would have made it about some dude in fucking England. No, we had Black the Ripper. He was real. He was fucking. he was the where it was. What city was that again? I just said
Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, the Atlanta Ripper. That's what he was called. The Atlanta Ripper.
Mango said, I can hear the tagline for Black the Ripper. Someone is ripping up the hood.
Yeah. Oh, man, we need to make this movie, man. You're on a project. You're on that project. We're going to make this fucking movie. But, no, fucking, you could have Quentin Tarantino. No, I wouldn't have him direct that. He'd fuck it up. He might be good at it. No, I'd have the fucking dude.
Can Samuel L. Jackson be in it?
I'd try to have the dude that did Sinners direct it.
Yeah, there you go.
Have him direct it. Yeah.
There you go. Can we have Samuel L. Jackson in it, please?
He's gonna be in there.
Oh my god! Yeah. I found the funniest meme. Like, you can close the internet. I found the funniest meme. It's the picture of Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction where he's staring into the camera like real intensely, and the caption says "stares motherfuckily."
Yeah, stares motherfuckily. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm keeping that.
Oh, I saw the motherfucker. I saw him. Yeah. He'd be the old guy in the hood.
I don't remember when somebody posted it like in response to something, and I just died laughing. I'm just like, oh my god.
Jackson would be the old dude in the hood that keeps seeing him. And fucking you start blaming the man for not catching him. You know. That's
and he'll just like, motherfucker this and motherfucker.
That motherfucker flying down on the wall, stabbing the
See, I can see it now. It would be so good.
Yeah.
It would be so good.
Yeah. I can see it. I can see the poster.
Yeah, the dude that did Sinners should totally.
Dude that did Sinners should do it.
I mean, that was a vampire. But it could be like the same kind of thing. You could do like a murder mystery.
If anybody out there fucking knows him, fucking clip this
and
out.
And then just go fucking do it.
Yeah.
Based on the Atlanta Ripper.
He owes me 5%.
According to a thing that I just made up.
Yeah.
Mego says, now you have to go full on trauma with Black the Ripper.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, well.
No, I'd play it straight.
I don't know if I'd play it straight, but I wouldn't go completely camp either.
No. I can see the poster. It would just be his outline with that fucking cape and the hat, just a silhouette with on a black background with just a red splash with him with just with maybe just eyes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a big splash of blood coming out like a sunbeams, and his outline there. Yeah, and then the starlets and Samuel L. Jackson up there.
Staring motherfuckerly.
Staring motherfucker. And the cops trying to catch him is going to be some old fucking dude like Keanu Reeves or some shit like that. The white guy's trying to catch him.
Yeah, because of course you gotta put a white guy. You
Yeah.
gotta put a token white guy in
You gotta have token white guys in there.
there. That they can yell at.
Yeah.
If we're not doing it.
I told y'all. You can't catch him. You just have you.
We're gonna have to catch him, and
Yeah,
then
we don't
like
have to
everybody
catch-
in the neighborhood's gonna have to band together.
Yeah.
Because the man can't do it. Like, see, it writes itself.
Yeah.
It writes itself. Like, I know
Yeah.
that they were actual real murders, and the murders were actually really fucked up. Like I said, we did a show about them a long time ago. They were very similar to, like, Jack the Ripper murders, like mutilation and stuff. Like, tearing out hearts and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, but the Atlanta Ripper, he was trying to be Jack the Ripper
Yeah.
based on how he was
That's his
dressed.
hero,
Yeah.
I reckon. But, not exactly somebody you want to be looking up to. Just gonna
Because
say.
he was dressed the way that Jack the Ripper archetype was. Overcoat, big hat.
Yeah, and weirdly, that archetype was around even back then.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing some of the newspaper, because obviously, you know, back when Jack the Ripper was doing stuff, they just draw shit and put it in the paper.
Yeah.
And, like, they did have a couple drawings, not with a top hat. I don't remember seeing anything with a top hat. But I could be wrong about that. I remember one where he had, like, the slouchy kind of hat. And the overcoat.
I think he said it was just a wide-brimmed, like, fedora, not fedora, but wide-brimmed kind of hat.
Yeah.
Flat, wide-brimmed hat.
Yeah, something like that, which that has a name, but I can't think of what it is right now. But yeah. So, you know. All right. So, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Oh, okay. So, couple things. Wednesday night show. We're going back to the serial killers. My favorite. We're talking about Arthur Shawcross, the Genesee River Killer.
Sounds
what
familiar.
a fucking... Yeah. Like, they're all horrible.
Yeah, I think I know who it is.
But this motherfucker, and this is another one too, where this motherfucker like killed a couple children early on, put in prison for a while, and then they let him out for some reason, and then he killed a bunch more people. So good job, justice system. So there's that.
Why they don't let him out anymore?
Well, yeah, they learned their lesson. Well, you know.
No.
And then Friday night, we're gonna do a sidetracks, but it will probably have to be short because. Or we might start it earlier. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Because our friend Demetrius, who is the DJ of Memento Mori, has a new night. And he's going to do the first night this Friday. And he wants us to go and check out the new venue because it's at a new place. And we don't know. He's like, it's a nicer place than where they're doing Barbarella. And he's like, maybe we'll move Barbarella there. We don't really know. But I've never been to the place before. But the pictures look amazing, and everyone's like, yeah, this place is really cool. It's really big, and it has like a really big dance floor and really good lights and stuff. So we're going to go Friday night and check it out. And then he's going to do it monthly, and then he's going to do a night at Barbarella also. So he's going to do it 2 goth nights a month at 2 different places. So the Friday night show, like I said, we might start it earlier because we're going to have to leave at like probably 8:30 or something. So it's like either we can just be on for an hour or we could start earlier. I'm not really sure. We'll kind of figure it out. But yeah, I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. I'll probably tell you again on Wednesday just to like remind everybody so you don't expect some big, huge, long, like 5-hour show like we would normally do because we have to go and check out this new place and see what it's like. So yeah, so thanks everybody for hanging out with us this evening. And we will see you guys again for the True Crime Show on Wednesday night. Good night.